What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about 5 essential games you need for your PlayStation 1 console. At number 5, we have Driver. The original Driver for PlayStation 1 kind of changed the game for car games. It wasn't a car game about racing. You were actually a full-on driver transporter, doing all sorts of missions, all sorts of jobs. One of the cool things about this game is the fact that you start off in a parking garage and you're actually put to the test with what driving abilities you're able to do. And the first level is actually a tryout to become a driver. Needless to say, this is actually pretty difficult, and I remember it took me at least a couple weeks as a kid to get through that. But once you did, the game opened up. And not to mention, Grand Theft Auto 3 totally copied Driver 2. Look at GTA 1 and 2 versus GTA 3, and then look at Driver 1 and 2, and then look at GTA 3. GTA 3 actually got inspired / copied Driver 2. Driver 1 actually kind of set the precedence for these kind of games. So that's number 5, Driver, a must-own for the PlayStation 1. Number 4, we're going with Silent Hill. If you've played Silent Hill already, you know how much of a gem this game is. These actually go for quite a bit on eBay, $150 to $200 complete in box, and there's a reason for that. It's not a rare game, but this is my theory. My theory is everyone who owns Silent Hill doesn't want to sell it. Because it makes no sense. It was a massive title. Well, it's old enough now, I guess. The original Resident Evil first print is pretty expensive, but Director's Cut that still came out before Silent Hill, it's still only 30 to 40 bucks, but either way, it's an expensive buy, but you will not regret Silent Hill 1. Resident Evil really changed the game when it came to survival horror, and it really put survival horror and horror games on the map. But Silent Hill was a totally unique approach. They didn't copy Resident Evil whatsoever. A little inspiration here and there, but it was actually a different game. Silent Hill relied on creepy aesthetics, somewhat clunky gameplay and camera angles, and awkward weapons and situations that made you really question your sanity. I just went back and played through Silent Hill on my Twitch channel, played full through it, and I can't believe how disturbing that game is for a PlayStation 1 game. Needless to say, that game got me jumping, it got me questioning my sanity, like I said before. Silent Hill at number 4, an absolute must-own for the PlayStation 1.
That creep's sure to show up at the amusement park pretty soon.
And number 3, we have Final Fantasy VII. That's right, I have a black label, misprint, complete in box. Final Fantasy VII is kind of like Zelda Ocarina of Time. They're both known as the best games of all time, and especially in their genre. You don't really need to talk about Final Fantasy, but I'm gonna a little bit. This game was totally revolutionary for the PlayStation 1. Final Fantasy VII was a lot of people's first real RPG / JRPG. This game really brought the Japanese style of role-playing games to America and made it fun enough that it was accepted by new audiences. Now that, in 1997, was a total achievement, to say the least. The combat system, incredible. The art, incredible. Cutscene graphics, incredible. Gameplay, story, everything about Final Fantasy VII is perfect, essentially. So, number 3, Final Fantasy VII, without a doubt, you absolutely need a copy of this for your PlayStation 1 collection. And coming in at number 2, this was really hard, but Twisted Metal 2 for the PlayStation 1. Twisted Metal 2 was the pinnacle of Twisted Metal games. The first Twisted Metal was a fun game, but the car combat, the car mechanics weren't quite there. I still love Twisted Metal 1, but 2 really got the Twisted Metal stride. Basically, you travel around the world, each car has different handling, special power-ups, and armor, and you have to decide which playstyle you like the best. Every character is unique and have different endings. The cool thing about this story of Twisted Metal is Calypso, this evil man hosting Twisted Metal around the post-apocalyptic world, grants you a wish at the end of your play. When you win, you get your wish granted. The thing is, he grants you a monkey paw wish. which if you don't know what that is, he takes your wish exactly as you say it and not exactly what you mean by it. If you've watched Wishmaster, the horror movie from the mid-90s, you'll know exactly what a monkey paw wish is. But between the car combat, the graphics of the time, the multiplayer aspect, co-op deathmatch, the bosses, the characters, the story, Twisted Metal 2 is an absolutely must-buy for your PlayStation 1 collection. Twisted Metal 2, to this day, is still the game I play most on my PlayStation 1. And coming up for number 1, if you know me and you know my channel, you may know what's coming. And I got a second one to show you. So my choice is Resident Evil Director's Cut. So this is the first Resident Evil, which is this. This is the first Resident Evil, okay? And that is Director's Cut. The difference is Director's Cut actually upgraded the music and soundtrack and had a separate arrange mode that mixed the items around and the locations of the items, which as a veteran RE player was really cool because you have the original story and you have an arrange mode. So it's the original game still, but you also have a bonus mode and the music was upgraded. So naturally, Resident Evil Director's Cut was the choice between the original Resident Evil and Resident Evil Director's Cut. So number 1 is Resident Evil Director's Cut. I can't stress to you all enough that this is my favorite game of all time. So naturally, it's going to be in my top 5 essentials and the number 1 essential for PlayStation 1. That's Resident Evil Director's Cut. Make sure you get these games. They're all absolutely fantastic. They're fun. The multiplayer ones are great with friends. Make sure to keep collecting. The PS1 is one of my favorite systems to collect for, if not my favorite. And thank you all for watching. Those are your 5 essential PS1 games. Click subscribe. We'll be back with more essentials and more games from back in the good old days. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you soon. Oh man, going back and playing all the gameplay for these games, it just brings me back. Of course, like I said, I play Twisted Metal to this day, and Resident Evil I play maybe once every 2 years just to keep it somewhat fresh. And Final Fantasy VII, oh man. Memory Lane, Silent Hill, getting lost in that weird town with the ashes or the snow, whatever they ended up going with. And Driver, setting the standard for car games that weren't racing games. Oh man, so much fun. Highly recommend all of these. If you've played any of these, leave it in the comments. Let me know what your favorite one is. See you on the next one.